As sure as the spring will follow the winter, prosperity and economic growth will follow recession. Bo Bennett. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. When I say the names Uber, NerdWallet, Groupon, Venmo, and WhatsApp, do you know what these companies have in common? Well, they all began during the recession of 2008. And so did our store, Zeus's Closet. We opened our doors April 18th, 2009. Now, mind you, we were on the road to opening the store prior to the crash, so we were all in. We closed on our commercial space about a month prior to the stock market crash in September of 2008. I am sure many people thought what a crazy time to open a brick and mortar location, but we did. And now, some almost 14 years later, we are still here. Praise God. I don't know about you, but I feel like January of this year went by really quickly. We are already in February, and this is an exciting month for me. Actually, this year, 2023, is pretty cool because there's a lot happening. Ethan and I celebrated 20 years of marriage this week. We have now known each other for over 25 years and have been in business together for over 20. I can't say that it has always been roses and champagne, but one thing is for sure is that we are a team, and we not only still love each other, but we still like each other. We still laugh together. He's my best friend. Okay, I know. Enough with all of the lovey-dovey stuff. But this year, our business turns 21 years old. We sold our first item, some Greek flyers to promote a party back in 2002. And we took that money and each of us put together $350 to open our business bank account with $1,000. We got our first custom Greek jacket order via Stuffer Greeks in the winter of 2003. And that is what started us on this trajectory of creating custom apparel, or tattooing your clothes as we like to call it. I also turned 50 later this year, which is crazy, unbelievable, insane, but I feel better. I feel in better shape than I did in my 20s, and I feel like not only am I comfortable in my own skin, but I've learned a lot over these years. And that is what I want to share with you today. Just some things I have gathered from 20 years of marriage, 21 years of business, and 49 years of living. Please note that these are not in any type of ranking order. This is just a brain dump from my head and my heart. The first one is consistency is key. I say this a lot, especially when I'm talking to clients about their social media. Consistency, not meaning constantly, but meaning that you show up when you say you will or when you typically do. Do you know that this is important in a relationship and business too? I'm sure you do. But consistently showing up for your partner in times of need or just in times of want. Ethan and I love movie nights, dinners out with just the two of us, and traveling together. Consistently showing up for our customers with service and quality is very important for our businesses. If you have a restaurant, for example, you want your chicken parm to be of the same taste and quality each and every time, because of course, that is someone's favorite dish. If you don't have that consistency, your customer will leave and go elsewhere. So consistency is key. Being consistent in your relationship and in your business are really important. The next one, being able and willing to innovate, pivot, or get creative when necessary. There was a time in our business when things got really tough. We saw revenues take a downturn due to a couple of unforeseen circumstances, and we had to get creative. Some projects that we used to say no to, we began to say yes to. I can specifically recall we would say no to people who would walk in and need a custom Greek jacket or item in less than a week. We would just say, no, we can't do that. We couldn't disrupt production. We just couldn't make that happen. But when times got tight and the requests became more frequent, we figured out a way. We figured out and created a calculator that would give customers faster options and would pay us more for the additional pressure to get it done. Straight margin on the rush fees, which is great for a business. We need margins. Sometimes you have to do the same in marriage, in relationships. You may have to get creative to add the fun and excitement back into them. And then there's perseverance. This is something that is required in life in general because things can just get hard. So, of course, it will get hard in relationships. It gets hard in business from time to time as well. So perseverance is important. And I wanted to bring up perseverance because with all of the talk of recession, we might all need a dose or two of this. And what this means to me is not laying down, not taking it, but fighting back, fighting to keep our businesses going, which might mean innovating or pivoting, or again, getting creative to stand the test of time. It may even be needed to get through some hard times in our relationships. Perseverance, that is something else that I have learned to have throughout this process, throughout these years. Next up, surround yourself with the right people. Now, I say this often. I've posted it on Instagram. I don't know how many times, but people can make or break you. They can make or break your business. And I hate to sound like that because you don't necessarily want to give people all of that power. They really don't have the power because you have the power to choose whether they're in or out of your life. But people, even your team members, can make or break your company. People can help or harm your relationship. So it's really important to surround yourself with the right people. People who uplift, people who support, people too who also will call you out on your BS. If you said you're going to start something and a year later you still haven't started, perhaps there's someone in your life who will say, you said you were going to start that last year, but you didn't. That may get frustrating. You may get mad, but are they telling the truth? Did you not start? Are you making excuses for not starting? So those people are important. Even the people who may not seem supportive, but they really are trying to support you. Again, the people you surround yourself with is very important. And I often say entrepreneurs need to have entrepreneurial friends. That doesn't mean all of your friends have to be entrepreneurs. All of my friends aren't entrepreneurs, but it helps to have a couple because you can run things by them. You can just chat. They can better understand when you say, payroll was tough to meet this week. They understand what you mean. So that's helpful. And then having people around you that have positive, inspirational relationships, that's also very helpful. I love to ask other mothers questions, people who have older children. I love to ask them questions. I love to talk to them about the things that I'm going through because they can feed into me and help me understand better perhaps what my kiddos are dealing with. Help me understand how to deal with whatever they're dealing with. So I love surrounding myself with positive people, people who are supportive, people who are cheerleaders, people who feed into you. And hopefully you do the same for other people. The next one is perfection isn't real. I can remember when I used to do interviews, not interview people, but when I was coming up and I was in that world of interviewing to get a job, and people would ask, what's your weakness? You know, what are your strong points? What are your weaknesses? And one of my weaknesses was always, well, I aim for perfection, and sometimes that slows me down, or I may not get something completely done because I'm aiming for perfection. But what I have learned over time is that perfection simply is not real. It is a fallacy. It does not exist. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. And what is perfect? What's the definition of that, right? Perhaps preparation is needed to start something, but not perfection. And I learned this watching back when we started our business, about a year into our business. Ethan received a position as Tyler Perry's only graphic designer for his plays at the time. He hadn't ventured into the realm of movies yet, but he was doing plays, and Ethan was his graphic designer. And I would watch him do a live play, and there were hiccups or, maybe something didn't quite go the way they planned. But he was still successful despite of. And some people gave him a really hard time about the movies that he came out with. They called his movies certain names that I will not repeat. But he has been successful despite the comments, despite the imperfections. So perfection just isn't real. And he has definitely been very inspirational for Ethan and I in our journey. And then lastly, this is the last one. I'm sure there's many more I could come up with, but another thing is be intentional. Set the intention. And I usually frame this in the way of goal setting for myself, but you have to be intentional to get shit done. It's that simple. Sure, there are coincidences, but often things don't just fall in your lap. Even if it may seem that way, I promise you that you've put in some work somewhere to get that opportunity. So those are just a few thoughts, few things that I've learned through business, through life. We all know that in our businesses, we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional in making a profit. Otherwise, we won't have a business. As I get older, I love getting to know myself better. I want to give you an example. This might be such a trivial example, but a few years ago, I realized that though the satiny PJs are cute and sexy, I don't like them. I don't like the material. It makes me sweat. And though I love to lounge in pajama pants, I can't stand sleeping in them. So just some nice cotton shorts and a t-shirt is great. It's my favorite. It's perfect. And if it's cute, that's a bonus. But it's perfect. So just getting to know myself better as I get older is so much fun. Getting to know my business better, getting to know the things that I enjoy, the things that I don't enjoy in my business, things that I need to delegate, things I need to outsource. Those are the types of things that I'm learning every single day, every single year. I know this episode is a little bit different from my usual, but of course, we're entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs, we're whole people. We have our business, but we also have our families, our friends. We're daughters, we're sons, we're sisters, we're brothers. And during this time, people around us may be impacted by the increased cost of groceries and clothes, really just about everything. And that being the case, perhaps they, as well as some of us, will see new opportunities available to enhance our current businesses or to start a new business or side hustle. I found this quote by Richard Branson. In times of recession, there are massive opportunities and fortunes to be made. So for new up-and-coming entrepreneurs, this is the time to go and start a business. That's Richard Branson. That's not from me. I love Richard Branson. I quoted him last week, actually. And he's not an entrepreneur to sneeze at. He's been very successful with the whole Virgin brand. The businesses I named at the top of this episode are big businesses that we've all heard of. Most of us have taken an Uber, or we've sent money or received money via Venmo. But much like our company, Zeus's Closet, there are small ones that started during 2008, 2009 that are still going strong. There are some that started in 2020, and they're still going strong. We might not know all their names because they're not Uber or Venmo, but they are out there. They are out there making a difference in their community and a difference in their part of the world. Thank you for listening today and letting me share some of my random thoughts and insights. Again, I'm grateful that you took the time to listen today. I do not take your listening for granted. If you are not already following me on Instagram, please do so. I am at Become Your Own Boss Podcast. That's the same on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And last request, take a few minutes to rate, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast. Share it with a friend. I know I say that often, but share it with a fellow entrepreneur so they can listen and hopefully learn and gain some benefit from the podcast and feel supported. You know, as entrepreneurs, we need that support. We need that encouragement. So share. Now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.